My name is Sarah. I am 38 years old. I live in a small town called River Hill. It is a quiet place with green trees and small shops. I have 2 children. My husband is Daniel. He is 43 years old. We have been married for 15 years. When we got married, I was very happy. Daniel was sweet and gentle. He brought me flowers. He cooked dinner on Sundays. He always looked at me and said, "You are my love." I smiled and felt lucky. I thought we would always be happy. We lived in a small house near the park. I loved our home. It was warm and full of light. After 2 years, we had our first child, a baby boy. We named him Noah. He was quiet and kind. He liked books and birds. I stayed at home to care for him. Daniel went to work every day at the bank. 2 years later, we had a daughter. Her name is Emma. She loves music. She sings all the time. She is full of joy. I spent my days with the children. I cooked, cleaned, and taught them numbers and words. Daniel worked hard. He came home late but always kissed the children goodnight. In those early years, I felt happy. Tired, but happy. Life was busy, but it was good. We had dinners together. On weekends, we went to the lake. We ate ice cream and watched ducks. Daniel and I held hands. I believed our love was strong. But slowly, things changed. Daniel began working more. He said, "I have a lot to do at the office." He stopped eating dinner with us. He stopped smiling at me. He looked tired, angry, or just quiet. I asked him, "Is everything okay?" He said, "I'm fine. Don't worry." At first, I believed him. I thought, maybe work is hard. Maybe he just needs time. But it got worse. He came home late almost every night. He stopped calling me during the day. He didn't look at me the same way. I missed him. I missed the man who brought me flowers. I missed his warm voice. I felt like I was living with a shadow. He was there, but far away. One day, I found a receipt in his coat pocket. It was for a hotel in a city 2 hours away. The name on the bill was not Daniel's. It said, "Room for Mr. D. Taylor and Ms. Clara." My heart jumped. My hands shook. I waited for him to come home. I showed him the paper and asked, "Who is Clara?" He looked at me and said, "She's just a coworker. It was a work trip. Nothing more." I didn't believe him. But I said, "Okay." I didn't want to fight. I didn't want to break my family. At that time, Noah was 5 and Emma was 3. They were small. They needed both of us. Weeks passed. I tried to smile. I tried to stay strong. But I cried at night when the children were asleep. I cried in the kitchen while washing dishes. I looked at Daniel and saw a stranger. I didn't know him anymore. He stopped telling me where he was going. He turned off his phone. He said, "I'm tired of all these questions." I said nothing. What could I say? I started to feel empty. I cleaned the house, but it didn't feel like home. I cooked meals, but they had no taste. I took the kids to school and smiled at other parents, but inside, I was broken. One afternoon, I went to the market. I saw a man from my past. His name was Mark. We went to the same school many years ago. He smiled at me and said, "Sarah, is that you?" I smiled too. "Yes, it's me." He was kind. He asked, "How are you?" I wanted to say, "I'm fine," but something inside me broke. I looked at him and said, "I don't know." He didn't laugh. He didn't change the subject. He looked into my eyes and said, "If you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here." I nodded. I walked away, but his words stayed with me. That night, I sat by the window. The children were asleep. Daniel was not home. I looked at the stars and felt very small. I whispered, "What happened to my life?" I thought about Mark, about his kind eyes, about his quiet voice. I didn't want anything from him. I just wanted someone to care, someone to listen. A few days later, I saw Mark again. He was at the cafe. I was alone, so I walked in. He waved at me. I sat with him. We talked. Not much. Just simple things. The weather, books, our town. But his words felt warm. He asked, "How are your children?" I smiled. "They are my joy." He said, "You are strong. I can see it." I felt tears in my eyes. No one had said that to me in a long time. We met once a week, sometimes at the park, sometimes at the cafe. Nothing happened. No gifts, no promises. Just words. Just kindness. I started to feel alive again. I laughed. I felt the sun on my face. I listened to the birds sing. I looked in the mirror and saw someone I remembered. But one evening, Daniel came home early. He saw a message from Mark on my phone. Just a simple message. "Hope your day was good." Daniel became angry. He shouted, "Who is this man? Are you seeing someone?" I looked at him and said, "I needed someone to talk to. You were not there." He didn't speak. He walked away. That night we had a long talk. For the first time in years, Daniel looked at me. His eyes were red. He said, "I'm sorry. I didn't know you were so hurt." I said, "You didn't ask. You didn't see me." He sat down and held my hand. "I still love you," he said. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to feel something, but my heart felt quiet. It was tired. It didn't trust easily anymore. And that is how part of my life changed. Not with a big event, but with many small cracks that grew over time. I don't know what will happen next, but I know I want peace. After that night, Daniel started to change. He came home earlier. He helped with dinner. He asked, Do you want tea? These were small things, but I noticed them. I didn't say much, but I saw he was trying. He even helped Noah with his homework and listened to Emma sing. He smiled more. Not like before, but something soft. I didn't know if I could trust it. I wanted to, but my heart still hurt. One Sunday morning, he asked, "Do you want to take a walk with me?" We hadn't walked together in years. I said yes. We walked near the lake. The sky was blue. Ducks swam in the water. People rode bikes and laughed. I watched them. I felt like I was looking into another world. Daniel said, "I miss this. I miss us." I looked at him. I didn't know what to say. I just nodded. He took my hand slowly. I didn't pull away, but it felt strange. His hand was warm, but my heart was cold. "I was wrong," he said. "I let work take everything. I didn't see you were alone." I whispered, "Yes." We walked in silence after that. In the evening, he cooked dinner. Emma was excited. "Daddy is cooking," she said. We ate together. Noah told a joke, and we all laughed. It felt nice. For one moment, it felt like the past. A warm table, happy children, smiles. But later, when I was alone in the bathroom, I looked at myself in the mirror. I asked, "Do I still love him?" I didn't know the answer. One day, Emma came to me with a drawing. It was of our family, me, Daniel, Noah, and her, all holding hands. She smiled. "We are happy," she said. I hugged her and kissed her cheek. I didn't want her to see my tears. Later, I asked Noah, "Do you think your dad and I are happy?" He looked surprised. "I don't know," he said. "You're always nice to each other, but sometimes you look sad." He was only 10, but he saw so much. That night I cried again, quietly. I didn't want anyone to hear. A few days later, I met Mark again. I hadn't seen him since Daniel found out. I didn't plan to meet him. It just happened. I was at the grocery store, and he was there with his son. He smiled and said, "Hi." I said, "Hello." We talked for a few minutes. He didn't ask questions. He just said, "I hope you're okay." I nodded. "Thank you. I'm trying." He looked at me gently and said, "You are strong, Sarah. Don't forget that." Then we said goodbye. That evening, I told Daniel I had seen Mark. I didn't want secrets. He didn't get angry. He only asked, "Do you still think about him?" I said, "No. I think about how he made me feel. Like I mattered." Daniel looked down. Then he said, "I want to give you that too." For the first time, I believed he meant it. He started doing more things at home. He helped Emma with her songs. He fixed the broken door in the kitchen. He asked me how my day was. Sometimes he brought home small gifts, a book, a flower, a new cup for my tea. Nothing big, but thoughtful. He said, "You don't need to thank me. You deserve this." I wanted to smile, and sometimes I did, but still, my heart was slow to open. One night, I got very sick. I had a high fever and strong pain in my chest. Daniel rushed me to the hospital. He stayed with me the whole night. He held my hand. He didn't sleep. He just sat there and said, "Please don't leave me." Tears ran down his face. "I still love you," he whispered. I closed my eyes. I remembered those words from so long ago, back when we were young, when life was simple. In the morning, I felt better. The doctor said it was a chest infection. Nothing too serious, but something in my heart had changed. I saw fear in Daniel's eyes. I saw love too. Maybe broken love. Maybe old love. But it was still there. When we got home, he made soup and told me to rest. He sat with me in the bedroom and read from a book. Emma came in and hugged me. Noah brought me water. I felt cared for. Later that week, I took a walk alone. I thought about my life, about all the years that passed, about the happy moments and the sad ones, about Mark, about Daniel, about my children. I sat on a bench near the river. Leaves danced in the wind. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. I asked myself, can I forgive? Can I heal? I didn't have the full answer, but I knew I wanted peace. That night I talked to Daniel. I said, "We need to be honest with each other." He nodded. "Yes, we do." I asked, "Do you really want this marriage, or are you just afraid to lose it?" He looked at me and said, "I want you, not just the idea of us. I want to make it right." I asked, "Can you forget the other woman? Can you give me the care I need?" He said, "I will try." I shook my head. "Trying is not enough. I need you to mean it." He looked into my eyes. "Then I will. I promise." And from that day, things began to shift. We didn't become perfect, but we started to walk together again. We had small talks about the weather, about school, about our past. He asked me about the books I liked. He said, "Tell me about your dreams." No one had asked me that in years. One evening, he surprised me with a dinner outside. Just the two of us. By the river, he brought a blanket, sandwiches, and tea. We sat under the stars. He said, "Thank you for staying. Thank you for giving me a second chance." I looked at him. He was not the same man I married, and I was not the same woman. But maybe we could build something new, not from the past, but from now. Weeks passed. Life at home was quiet, but different. Daniel continued to help more. He cleaned the dishes. He folded laundry. He walked Emma to school. These were small things, but they mattered to me. He no longer stayed late at work. He spent his evenings at home. Sometimes we talked. Sometimes we sat in silence, but the silence was soft, not cold. I still had doubts. My heart was not fully open. Sometimes when I looked at him, I still remembered the pain, the hotel receipt, the nights I cried alone, the way he had once walked past me like I didn't exist. But I also remembered the hospital, his hand in mine, his words, "Please don't leave me." Forgiving him was not easy. I wanted to forget, but I couldn't. I could forgive, but the memory stayed. One day, I stood in front of the mirror. I looked at my face. I looked tired, but also strong. I said to myself, "Sarah, you are not perfect, but you are trying. You are doing your best." I wanted peace, not just for my family, but for myself. That week, I wrote a letter to myself, just for me. It said, "Dear Sarah, you are strong. You are kind. You are important. You lived through pain and didn't give up. You cried, but you kept going. You wanted love, and you still do. Don't be ashamed. Love yourself first. Then you can love others. You deserve happiness. Don't forget that." I folded the letter and placed it in my drawer. Now, when I feel sad, I read it again. Some days are better than others. Some days, I smile without thinking. Other days, I feel tired. But that's okay. Life is not always easy. I learned to accept that. I also started doing things for myself. I began walking alone in the morning. I went to the library and borrowed books. I listened to soft music and drank tea in silence. One day, I bought a notebook. I wrote my thoughts in it every night. I didn't hide my feelings. I wrote the truth. Sometimes I wrote, "I am still hurt." Other times I wrote, "Today, I felt happy." I let all the feelings come. I didn't stop them. Emma once asked me, "Mom, why do you write in your book every night?" I smiled and said, "Because it helps me feel better." She nodded and said, "Maybe I will do that too." Noah also changed. He became more open. He talked to Daniel more. They played games together on weekends. I watched them and felt thankful. I knew our family had broken once, but maybe it could heal. Not go back to how it was, but become something new. One evening, Daniel brought me a small box. Inside was a necklace with a simple heart. He said, "This is not to say sorry. This is to say thank you for not giving up on me." I held the necklace in my hand. I said, "Thank you for learning to see me again." He placed it around my neck. That night we sat on the sofa with the children. We watched an old movie. Emma sang along with the music. Noah laughed at the jokes. I looked at my family. I felt a small light inside. Not a fire, just a soft light. But it was enough. Some days, I still thought about Mark. I didn't miss him as a person. I missed the way he made me feel seen. But I knew I had said goodbye. He was part of a time when I felt lost. He gave me kindness when I needed it. For that, I would always be grateful. But now, I was finding kindness in my own life again. Slowly, carefully. Daniel was not perfect. I was not perfect. But we were both trying. One Saturday morning, we cleaned the house together. Emma played music, and we all sang. I caught Daniel smiling at me, not with guilt, but with care. Later, when we had tea in the garden, he said, "I know I hurt you. I don't ask you to forget. I only ask for a chance to build something new with you." I said, "One day at a time." He nodded. "That's enough." And it was. Now I don't dream of a perfect life. I don't wait for flowers or big words. I look for small moments. A quiet morning. A warm cup of tea. My children's laughter. A walk by the river. I know love is not just a feeling. Love is care. Love is time. Love is listening. Love is respect. I also know this. I am strong. I can survive sadness. I can find light again. I can learn to trust myself. My heart is still healing, but it is not broken. I take life one day at a time. I try to smile. I try to rest. I try to be kind to others and to myself. If you are reading this, maybe you feel lost too. Maybe you feel tired. Please remember this. You are not alone. You are strong, and you deserve love. Start with yourself. One small step, one quiet moment, one day at a time. And maybe, just maybe, the light will return. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon.